Okay, we'll go ahead and call the Thursday, May 16th Springdale Airport Commission meeting to order. We can get a roll call, please.
Neil Johnson, Greg Collier.
Here.
Joel Gardner, Steve Smith.
Here.
Bill Schoonover.
Here.
Greg Willoughby.
Here.
Have you had a chance to look at the minutes?
I'll move to approve them for the April 18th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes pass. This is the time of our meeting where we give the audience members a minute to, or 5 minutes, I guess, or less, to give us your comments. Anyone in the audience have anything to share with the commission today? Okay. Let's go ahead and skip down to Adam for Garver and let you visit with us.
I'll be pretty brief today.
Greg does, I think.
Everything I got's on.
That's all right, I'll just be loud. So 2 projects to give you a status update on. The runway rehab project, that's all finished up. The only remaining item there was some punch list work. Basically, the seed that they cast in the winter when we closed out, some areas just didn't establish. And because of that, a few spots washed out the topsoil. So we finally got a break in weather this week, so they're out there today and tomorrow finishing that up. Oh, there it goes. Finishing that work up, and assuming it all gets taken care of, we'll close that project out and get your 10% reimbursement back from the ADA, which is in the magnitude of about $200,000 that you'll be getting from the state. There's a 10% match on that FAA grant. So, hoping to get that in the next month or so. And then if you remember on the concrete hard stand project, that's your state grant that you got, 9010 grant. We talked last week or last month about shifting that location to the far south end of the terminal apron as opposed to within the limits of the terminal apron. That was an idea James had. Since the last meeting, James and I and Daniel, we kind of shot some emails back and forth and settled on an alignment for that and how it's going to work and make sure it can handle all the different aircraft configurations that we could expect on it. And we're all in agreement on it now. So we've had our survey crew out to survey the area. Probably looking at advertising for bids on that project in the next 2 weeks. So more than likely what we'll do is open bids sometime after our next meeting. So that'll be in the late June timeframe. We'll open bids on that project and then come to you in July with a recommendation of award for construction.
Very good.
So you're looking at, when do you think that construction would begin?
I expect that construction to begin probably in the late July to early August timeframe. So we'll probably hit the best part of the summer for construction purposes, which is good because that's the swampy area south of that apron. So we found out during our survey.
Questions for Adam on any of that?
Well, does that swampy area going to affect the cost?
We're hoping not. You know, we're going to have to dig out for the pavement section anyway. We're hoping we'll be able to fix some of that swampiness. Some of it's just poorly graded. We are going to be conservative. What we did is we took the same square yardage of area we had in the apron and applied it over there. We're actually going to expand it a little bit. That way if we get good bids, we can do a little bit more. But that's why I want to have some time between the bid opening and y'all's meeting. That way if we did need to adjust things, we had time to get with Daniel, James, adjust limits and make sure we can still get the ultimate approach that we're looking for in that area.
Thanks.
Is all the work going to be done far enough away from the runway that there won't be any interference with normal operations?
That's exactly right. Yeah, we'll have to put some barricades along the south edge of the terminal apron. We may have one spot where we have to shut down that parallel taxiway for a short stretch. We're working right up against it. So you're going to be able to turn off the parallel right into that concrete apron area, but that'll be minimal work. That's a pretty wide road there that you can bring planes into that terminal apron, so it may be or unusable for a short time while they're bringing planes in.
Not sure why the roof repair is under you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's James.
So how's the roof repair going?
Thanks, Adam. All right, Daniel, would you like to give us an update?
Good afternoon, everybody. I don't have much. Still turning people away. I think there's actually a couple of people at the airport right now who wanted to eat. Now they're just watching airplanes. So waiting on Jeff to get that rolling, and so business is going to be there once he does. On occasion, we still have our large aircraft come in. The guy who comes in a couple times a month, we're always expecting him. Basically, the day before is when we get the notice. And he's been coming in without notice recently. We'll see him about a couple hours beforehand, whenever they leave their departure point. Then fuel sales for April over March, we're up about 7%, and we doubled the avgas sales in April over March, so more than doubled. Went from about 4,000 to just over 11,000 gallons. Any questions?
Thank you. Before we move to the activity report, I do want to, he touched on the restaurant. Can you give us a little bit of an update on when he's planning on?
He's looking at roughly August 12th for a rough opening. So, and we're getting ready to initiate the contract because we're going to get finished up on all the equipment and gear will be up there. So the contract will start. So that'll give him May, June, July to get everything. He plans on doing a couple of soft openings before he does his hard opening. So his rough idea today was August 12th for the opening.
And all the equipment is there already, other than the furniture?
No, the furniture's there.
Furniture is
So
there.
we just like, I think the stove, a couple of shelves, and the ice machine, which we're hoping to finish that up in the next week. So then it'll be ready for him to start stocking personnel, food, and everything.
I guess I'm wondering, it seems like an awful long time between being ready and being able to open. What's
I don't know where he came up with that date at. To me, it seems very conservative. I don't know. So,
When I spoke with him, he was trying to be conservative with his
Yeah.
dates, yeah.
Okay.
he just wants to make sure when he opens, he's ready to open. So, he said he's planning on trying to do 2 soft openings just to make sure that they don't have any flaws.
Okay. Okay. Wyman, activity report?
Put in your packet a copy of the Arkansas statutes sitting at y'all's authority. I had a bank that was looking at a loan on Jeff Manshanger, wanting to know what authority the airport commission has. And I figure there's some of y'all that hadn't read this, and you might like to read it. Y'all have quite a bit of power to operate the airport. Just for information. Financial statements I didn't get done in time to get them in here, but we're in good shape. Houses on the Emma that we've purchased, we've done an asbestos survey on them, and they're clean, they're clear, and ready to be demolished and level the property. That'll probably, we'll get quotes from demolition companies, but it'd probably run close to between 20,000 and 30,000.
Did we check with the fire department about doing a control burn on that?
Hadn't yet, but I will before we tear them down.
Might save a little bit if,
Sometimes it creates a bigger mess to clean up than what you've got prime material.
and then what about the one property that we're still waiting on? Any update on that? The one property that we were,
We've got possession of it. Go to court, as court date's signed yet, but he's getting a second appraisal. First appraisal was twice what ours was, which we already have 2 appraisals, or we've got an appraisal and then a review of that appraisal by another independent appraiser. Good shape to go to court on it.
okay. Anything else? Any questions for Wyman? Okay, moving right along. Brad Baldwin, you want to talk to us? I think you got to speak into it. It's No? It's on.
Up, we can't hear you.
Coming with the mic right now.
He's coming down to,
He's got all the buttons pushed.
he's got a handheld if you want to use that.
Okay.
Go up there.
We're trying to reduce and eliminate the, do what? Is that better?
Yeah.
Still pretty loud. Reduce and eliminate the floodplain through the middle of downtown. There's a lot of development interest in the floodplain, encumbers a lot of that. The way to do that is to provide detention to reduce the peak on Spring Creek during 100-year flood, essentially. So the City Council has retained FTN to design that project. I was going to say there's going to be a lot of dirt associated with that, so I know the commission has some projects, so there may be some areas that need filled, so that would be a good opportunity to coordinate some of that. FTN is here with a couple of slides to show you what they're doing and why. And Kel Farmer with FTN is here, and I'll get him to explain that.
So on this slide, you can see where we have proposed the pond to be located. Through an initial feasibility study, we looked at 3 different locations that provided various volumes of storage. And based on the results on water surfaces through downtown, the city settled on this alternative. What we've got up here, the blue mapping is the 100-year floodplain currently as it stands on the map today. The red hatch line is floodway, which is a more heavily restricted zone within the floodplain. And then the orange at the periphery is the 500-year floodplain. So FDN is working with the state of Arkansas on a remapping for all the FEMA maps in Washington County. And as a result of that mapping, the 100-year floodplain will be brought in significantly, as well as the 500-year. This will be the effective mapping once that's all the way through FEMA's process. The blue and the orange are the same, but with the new. As a result of adding the detention pond on the airport property, the green line that you see, I don't know if you tell the screen, blue wall. The heavy green line is what the new 100-year floodplain will be. And you can see it's pretty well confined to the channel. And once you get to the big culvert that runs through downtown, it's completely contained within that culvert. So all of the mapping between there and Turnbow Park, where it comes back out, will disappear. There will be no surface mapping in that area. So really, by allowing this pond to go on y'all's property, you're helping your neighbors downstream. We have spoken with Mr. Morgan previously, and we know that there's a proposed taxiway at some point in the future. So we're going to incorporate that in our design of this pond. And leave some fill there, replace some fill to keep it level as you go.
We've had thoughts of putting a terminal down there, and that's gonna create an issue.
Be enough room for a taxiway to go north of the detention pond to get to where we're wanting to put the terminal building.
Can't move that further west?
It's not airport property further west.
What about east? Other side of the runway where we don't have anything.
That's where the taxiway's going.
There'll be enough room to run the taxiway north of the detention pond to get to the terminal building.
How deep is that, where that detention pond begins on the north end? How far from Emma? No, I mean the distance, distance from Emma.
Right.
Then do we know how far it is from the west side of that floodplain there, or from the detention pond to the edge of our property?
You can see the trail right there beside it, that white concrete. That's the trail that runs along the west side of the airport.
Right up against it?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you need some additional buffer in there, we can make that happen.
Oh, we bought those houses there,
Property do we own now?
and it's not gonna do us any good.
How much of that did we?
Well, the property that we're purchasing is on the west side of that, and that's just right in front of where we're trying to.
Did we end up with all of that or just on the northwest corner?
Got a slide that shows the pond?
Got that, right?
No, we're talking about the property we acquired, when you originally came and talked to us about a pond, you were talking on the east side.
First,
There were 3 sites. Over on the east side is where the old land. We understand that it's where an old landfill is and it's not appropriate for detention. We evaluated 3 sites and combinations of those 3 sites, and this is the only most economic.
What? It sort of defeats our purpose, doesn't it?
What's the status of this? Do you understand what our concern is? We're wanting to build a terminal. Yes. And that's not gonna be feasible.
There's gonna be a taxiway here. That's my understanding.
But it doesn't leave any room for a ramp or anything like that,
Yeah,
which you
no
gotta
ramp,
have.
no parking.
Building you can't put a couple of airplanes in front of.
We can move the taxiway provisions out, create a divided pond. Just let us know what works best for y'all.
Yeah, I gotta go soon, but I can't just give the commission a few things to think about before I have to go. That's great, and you guys can hear it too, if I forget it, you won't hear it. So, a couple things on the original exhibit we made, the taxiway going to the, facility was actually offset a little bit from the existing taxiway, because you can't have direct access from apron to runway, which is why we had to do some pavement removal down here, if you remember, on the current project. So it does offset a little bit, so it won't be in line with that, it'll be offset from that, probably closer to this line right here. You know, in my opinion, what I'd probably recommend is, go ahead and utilize more space here, which you can't park aircraft in anyway because you're too close to the runway. And try to go, see if you can go slimmer but longer, and you'll have your crossing across the pond, so you have to have some culverts there, but that would pull the pond further to the east closer to where your BRL is anyway, or your aircraft
Right.
parking line is anyway.
Right.
Because you can't park aircraft until you get to about right here anyway, because they're too close to the runway. So those are just some thoughts to think about, and I can work with those guys, I can send them those lines. This is the first I've seen of this, but I think there's some things we can work together on. So I just wanted to leave you with that parting thought.
We can adjust that, we just have to have a detention volume, so you can
Sure.
squash it
Yep.
around to
Okay.
accommodate
Squish it
the
around
volume.
however you
Yeah.
need to get the volume that you're after.
Initially, when you came, the time frame for the water to stand, wasn't it less than a day in a worst?
I think we said it would meet FAA requirements, which is 48 hours.
I think you were around 30.
Okay,
Yeah, I was thinking 36.
okay. So are you here today just to show us this and to give us,
What's moving forward, and
absolutely. Okay. We appreciate that.
What sort of timeline do we as a commission need to work with everybody on when this is happening? Because these are pretty significant decisions that we're making regarding our long-term future of the airport. What's our timeline? What do you all see?
So if that were submitted, the conditional letter, could you come back and make adjustments to it after you've submitted that?
It depends on the impact to the water surface elevation. But the conditional letter is to be provided on the front end that your project will reduce water surface elevations throughout the system upstream, downstream. If we come back and there are any increases because the volume is reduced or just how the flows interact between the main stem and that tributary, there could be an issue when we submit the longer. It'd probably be best to get looked at before submitting. Now, that conditional letter does take usually 6 to 12 months for review and approval on their end. So to Brad's statement about driving development, we can't do any kind of construction until FEMA gives their blessing.
Right, but if you send that letter, it doesn't matter if it takes a month or 12 months, it's still gonna be locked into what you've submitted.
Given us really kind of a short notice to consider it 2 weeks. You're gonna, we're 2 weeks and you want to present something to FEMA and we're just now finding out about it. Not with that pond showing there, they didn't. Yeah, they've changed it. Yeah, that's the whole issue, just to come in and say, this is what we're gonna do. And we've been acquiring land with plans to do things. Now, we're not gonna do it next year, but,
Well, yeah, because we can't move that fast with FAA.
oh, well, we can't move that fast with economics even, but our long-term plan has been to move that direction
For years.
for years, yeah. We've been talking about it for years, and basically you're saying today, and in 2 weeks, we're gonna do something else. I feel like we've been blindsided a little bit, just to be real honest.
Any way to put the brakes on?
Basically, you're saying no.
We really need, as we said, Adam to get
We got to
with you
get Adam.
guys.
I mean, Adam's the most important to get involved in this right now. Absolutely, that's right.
Well, according to this, we can actually say no. haven't read it completely, but that's a possibility, but.
Well, they're not here for a vote.
Let's engage Adam
Yeah.
and see if there's not a way to change the shape that is less impacting to what we had planned. And Adam's got all of that already in his knowledge base. So if we can get with him, then he can say, hey, you know what, let's do a little shift here. And, you know, kind of like he just briefly outlined there, he's going to have a lot better idea on exactly what those dimensions are that we had planned on stuff. We're all kind of going off of memory, and he's got all the drawings.
So one thing that I would ask as well would be, once you guys have met with Adam and we're going down a road that suits us all, we feel like we can get an emergency meeting together so we're all on the same page without waiting another month to get together to hear what you guys decided on that. Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for them? All right, thanks, Brad. James, tell us about the roof repair.
Jeff said as soon as he gets a good 4-day clear, no rain, he'd get it done.
Got that.
He had that
6
this week,
months
this
ago.
week.
I told him the same comment. Guys, this was a beautiful week, why ain't you done?
Well, he's got 1 day left.
Right? So, no, I already mentioned that as well. But he said 4-day, clean, no rain.
With all the rain that we've had, and we've had a couple of weekends of really heavy rain, have we sustained any damage from that?
No, not a lot, and the reason why, it takes a certain wind to get it blow under. So,
Okay.
we're fine still.
Good.
Not even on that 5-incher, huh?
Right.
No issues. Awesome.
All right. Any old business? Comments from the commissioners? We stand adjourned.
Thanks, sir.
I just wanted to do that.
That he was looking for a T-hanger to put an airplane in. And two of our tenants that are renting hangars didn't have planes in them, and they offered to sublease to him. Well, our lease says that they're not allowed to sublease without airport commission approval. I talked to one of the tenants, and they were not aware that they have leased it long enough that they forgot that it was in the lease, and they're going to correct it. I haven't talked to the other one yet. Like the airport commissioner aware that they did make an offer to sublease at a slightly higher rate than what we charge.
And where is that, what's the status of that now?
I just talked to one today, and I hadn't talked to the second one. Let them know that they can't do that.
Have they looked at their contracts?
They hadn't yet, but I have. I sublease without your approval.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Let us know if we need to.
Is there anything in those T-hangers at all?
I haven't looked in them. I don't know what's in them, but I assume not, since they offered to sublease it.
They own airplanes?
Yes.
They do own airplanes, but they're just not on our property.
No, they still have them on our property. They just multiple hangars.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna make them aware of their lease.
They don't have a plane to put in there. I'm gonna suggest to them that they let it go and let us rent it to someone that does have a plane.
Good angle.
How long is the waiting list?
Almost 30 names.
Is that usually months or longer? Years to be able to get in at that point? If you're the last person on that list? That's what I would assume. Just-
Right. Sometimes it's wild. You can go through the whole list to the last person because it just hits everybody wrong. And then sometimes it's the first person you call takes the hanger.
And all the open hangars are full as well?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Anything else? We stand adjourned.
Again.